I think it's working. Hello, Peaceful Nick the Medium. Wow, 19 minutes to get the live stream to go. I am so sorry. I want to apologize to everyone who's been waiting. I've had, as always, some technical difficulties with my YouTube live stream. This seems to be a pattern. Spirit must not like it when I go live on YouTube. So thank you for being patient. Thank you for hanging on. Hopefully we will get a bunch of people on here. I know it's a holiday, but I just wanted to pop in and give some information. I will be going live with Wendy D'Angelo and Kathy Behrens on the Friday before Father's Day for a Father's Day special event. The cost is $25 for that. You can register for that on my website, peacefulnickthemedium.com. It's in the scroll below. I do offer private readings. I do answer questions. Let's see if we've got some questions in the chat. And remember, there is often a delay in the chat for the YouTube. So be patient and I will get to, I gotta scooch over a little bit. I'll get to the chat as soon as I see it start popping in. So I would love to answer some questions. Again, hi. One of my students, hello, hello. I'm glad you're here. It took me forever to get this to go and to work. It seems to be a pattern with me. I should have started 30 minutes before. I thought, hi Ash. Oh, I'm so glad you're here. Seems to be a pattern with me. I should have started 30 minutes before. I started 10 minutes before and still took me a long time. Hi, Hattie Scott. Oh, well, I was frozen. So are you able to Chelsea wants to know, are you able to recognize spirits you have connected to previously? Yes, that does happen sometimes, not every time. Yay. Hi, Mandy. Hi, sweetheart. I'm glad you were patient, everyone. It took me forever to get on here. I am so, so sorry. I am going to have to, I think I'm going to need a new computer. It might be my computer. She's 5.5 years old. Hi, Catherine. Hi, Anna. Hi, everyone. And so sometimes my computer, because 5 years for a computer is pretty old, right? So I hope you like my pretty sparkly lights in the back. And I hope you can see my pretty painting. Oh, the camera's reversed. If anybody knows how to flip the camera on here, let me know. Hi, Dawn. I'm glad you're all here. So if anybody's looking to have a mediumship training or mentorship, I offer beginners, intermediate, and advanced classes and a bunch of workshops. All of that can be found on my website, or you can email me. My website's scrolling along the bottom. I do have a coupon code for June, is capital summer 2023. It's for $30 off private readings. What else? I will be traveling in the middle of July, and I'm also offering during the week readings. I only offer those at certain times of the year because I work full time. So in June, I have readings during the week. I get a lot of questions from clients that say, can you do a reading during the week? Because most of the time I do them on weekends or holidays. Like today, that's why I'm doing a live today. So if anybody has any questions about mediumship, spirit guides, you can go to my website and click the link that says get your free guide to finding your spirit guide. And it'll be sent right to your email immediately, like within a couple of minutes you should get that. That's probably the most common question I get is about finding spirit guides. And actually that surprised me. I wasn't expecting that to be the most common question I get, but lo and behold, that's what the question is. So let's see if there's anything in the chat. So if anybody has any mediumship questions, I'm going to try as soon as my anxiety slows down a little bit from trying to get on here for 20 minutes, I'm going to try to get to some free readings today. So I hope you guys can stick around for that. I get questions a lot about, should you meditate if you're trying to find your spirit guide? Can you, I get a lot of questions about reincarnation. So if your loved one is reincarnated, can you still talk to them in spirit? And the answer to that is yes. That's a very, very common question. And if you're putting anything in the chat, it is not loading. So just be patient, and at some point they'll all load. So if you have a loved one, let's say your great grandfather, and you were close to them, and maybe they passed 40 years ago, and you're worried oh good, Hattie meditates daily, excellent. And you're worried they may have reincarnated, can you still get a reading from someone who is reincarnated? And the answer is yes. And the reason the answer is yes is because our spirit, and this, I had another question earlier today from someone else, so this kind of answers both questions. Our spirit is in the quantum realm. Now, for those of you who aren't aware, I have a science degrees and a scientific background. Oh no, it says it was disconnected. I hope I didn't lose you. I've studied some quantum physics, not as much as a quantum physicist, but I have a little bit of a working knowledge. And our spirit, I believe, exists in the quantum realm, meaning if you look up like the double slit experiment and things like that, our spirit is energy. Energy cannot be created or destroyed. And the energy it's made up of can exist in different states in time and space simultaneously. So that's, I could go much deeper than that, but I'll just give you that general explanation. So if you are worried that your loved one in spirit can't communicate you if they're reincarnated, they can, because they can be in more than one place at one time. And you have what's called an oversoul. So you have a main part of your soul, like a mainframe computer, and only a little tiny piece of it exists in your mind. If your whole soul went into your body couldn't handle it. It would be too much energy. So only a little piece of it. So you're always connected to the spirit world. And I don't know about you guys, but I always kind of feel like I'm connected somewhere outside of my mind. And that, in my opinion, is how we're connected to our oversoul in the spirit world. Some people like to define that as heaven. I don't think that it matters how you define it as heaven, the spirit world, the other side, another dimension. Those are all labels we've put on things to make ourselves feel better, but it doesn't really matter how you define it or label it. What matters is that place exists. Okay, I hope that made sense. I ramble. Mandy wants to know, hello Mandy, is there a specific time frame after a sudden death in which spirit will start sending you signs? This is a great question. And one that's very close to my heart, because I became a medium because the first, I'll tell the story briefly because I've told it a lot of times. I became a medium when a friend of mine's son passed away, who I had not seen in 25 years since he was an infant. And my sister called me and said, and I have permission from the family to tell the story, so I'm not, talking out of turn or anything. My sister called me and said, Brandon died. And as soon as she said that, and it was that day that he passed, as soon as she said it, in my head, I just knew it was a drug overdose. And I was like, whoa, that's weird. How did I know that? But I didn't verify that yet. That's just what I knew in my head, or I thought I knew in my head. And this happened to me my whole life. I kind of knew things, but I wasn't sure why I knew them. I thought everybody just knew things ahead of time. And I know that sounds super ignorant, and why would I think that? But I just thought everybody knew things. So after I got the phone call, maybe an hour later, I went to lay down to take a nap. And I wasn't laying down for 30 seconds. And this young man, full color in my head, and this was the day he passed, was in my head telling me, just as clear as if he was standing in front of me, tell my mom I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do it. And it was so dramatic and so intense that I sat right up. And I was in shock. I didn't know what to think. I didn't know what to do. And so I called my sister and I said, oh my God, Brandon came to me and he said, tell my mom I didn't mean to do it. Tell her I'm sorry. Something to that effect. A couple days later, I find out that the way he passed was by a drug overdose. And that's why he was sending the message to apologize. Well, I just thought, oh, that's a one-off. I'm just going to move on with my life. I told everybody in my family, and I'm like, whatever. Then a few months later, a family friend passed away, and her name is Dottie, and my son was with her when she passed. And that day, in my head, I keep seeing this red heart in my head over and over and over, this little red heart in my head. And I'm like, what is that? What is that? It was driving me insane. And so I texted my son. I said, son, Dottie keeps showing me this red heart. He's shoving it in my head. I can't close my eyes. I can't go to sleep. I can't rest. I can't do anything. He immediately texts me back a picture of her keychain that was a red heart with her name on it that he had picked up right after she passed that day, because he was with her when she passed. And I almost fainted. I was like, wow, something is happening to me and I have to figure out what it is, because scientific background. So I found a mediumship teacher through YouTube who I love and adore, and I'm eternally grateful for Danielle, the Happy Medium. And then I got trained, and I'm trained to give readings, and I'm certified to teach mediumship as well. So that's my little story about that. Oh, good. I'm glad, Dawn. I'm glad you find it interesting. And I am so glad I finally got this live to work. I was so frustrated. I am doing a live Zoom Father's Day special event with Kathy Behrens and Wendy D'Angelo, June 16th. It's a Friday evening. We are donating money, part of the proceeds, to first responders. It's limited seating. I think there's only about 10 seats left. So if you are looking to heal a father wound, if you have lost your father, or if you are a father who's lost a child, this would be an excellent time for you. It's only $25, 3 mediums. Pretty much mostly everybody will get a reading. Sometimes there's 1 or 2 at the end that may not get a reading, but we're really trying to work on our timing so everybody can get a reading. That is June 16th. You can register for that on my website. So let's see what we've got going on here. Let's look and see what the comments are. Any other questions about mediumship or spirit guides? I will tell you that I was in a business meeting on Saturday, and I was talking to someone about how to get more people to register for this Father's Day event. And I'm like, I just don't, I don't really know. I want people to really heal their father wound. And I was telling my business lady, she's like, well, what's the story? Why do you think people need to heal their father wound? And I was like, because so many people, men and women, adult children, have an absent father, an alcoholic father, an addicted father, an abusive father, someone who is a workaholic, something that they didn't get to fulfill that father need in them. And they, even if they confront their father and say, you know what, you didn't do this for me, you didn't do that for me, you did this to me, or you didn't give me enough, give my family enough money to eat, or you were an alcoholic, or you were abusive. even if you confront that person, you may not get the resolution or empathy from them that you expect. And then, God forbid, they pass away and you never get to heal that wound. So, the Father's Day event is for people who maybe had a healthy relationship with their father, of course, but also for people who didn't have a healthy relationship with their father, who are looking for a way to start healing that wound if they didn't get that while they were alive. Okay, Mandy says, he passed about a week ago, and I've been getting what I think are signs spirit is here. The lights just went out in my office. Wow. So, yes, because I know Mandy in my personal life, I'm very close to her. So I know her enough to know that she's very connected to spirit. And so it makes sense that she can see these sounds and receive these, see these signs and receive these signs. So what we have are antenna. I like to say we have little antenna. Some people have a tiny antenna for the spirit world, and some people have a huge antenna for the spirit world. And when you have a huge antenna for the spirit world, you're going to get all kinds of messages and things from spirit, because they want to communicate with humans. They want to heal, and they want to help you heal, and they want to say, I'm here, I'm here. Life goes on beyond this world that you're in. This meat suit, as my sister calls it, this meat suit goes away, but our consciousness is eternal. It is literally forever. So when you have a big antenna, you will get messages. And if you're untrained, oh no, oh, okay, my thing is telling me something about a bit rate, whatever that means. If you're an untrained person who does not have mediumship training and your antenna is really big, you're going to keep getting messages. You're going to keep getting signs from spirit. And if you get trained, this is a hint to her to come back to my mediumship class, because she was in my class. If you get trained, you will know how to put up boundaries and receive those messages at the appropriate time. And be able to understand more what's a message, what's a sign, and what may just be a coincidence. So yes, it's very possible that your friend who passed has, I don't know if you sent me another message that didn't come through. Yes, your friend that passed is very likely, because you've been thinking about him a lot lately, and you came on this live to hear about it and to talk about it. So it's very, very likely that those lights flickering are him coming through and saying, I'm here, I'm here. Electricity is one of the most common ways spirits give us signs. That is probably why I have so much trouble when I try to live stream, because I get so worked up and excited. My energy gets really, it really interferes with electricity. My mother was the same way. She was not a trained psychic or anything, but she had some abilities, but she passed before she could get any type of training. And she would knock out electricity. She couldn't wear a watch. Lights would flicker, all that stuff. I can wear a watch because I've got more control of myself now, but I'll go to a cash register and the cash register just goes crazy, especially if I've been thinking about the spirit world. Okay, I hope I answered that, Mandy. Renee, hello, darling, one of my beautiful students. I experienced a beautiful experience with my cousin I told you about, and faced my fears and gave a reading to a sister. Congratulations, absolutely wonderful. Very, very good. I cannot wait to hear about it. You can type it in the chat, or you can, if it's private, you can email me, or just wait till class starts. I am so proud of you for doing that. Good, good, good. Hattie, healing father wounds heals us inside when there are traumas. I was able to do that and cut cords with my father, which helped me. Absolutely. Sometimes that's the only way to cut that cord. and you can do it spiritually. There are people who specialize in helping that. Dawn says, my grandfather played with the lights in my nephew's incubator when he was in the NICU. Fascinating. Yeah, because they really keep track of how everything in the NICU, because the neonatal intensive care unit, it's for tiny little babies. They really keep that stuff up to par because it's very important to keep those babies healthy. So it's interesting. Hattie says, I'm waiting to be able to communicate with my spirit guides, the afterlife. I do have smells that I know when certain family members are with me. So, Hattie, I do mediumship mentorships if you'd like to join. You can send me an email. You can go through my website, or my email is the same as my website on the scroll. Just put @gmail.com. And I can help you with that. I do have some one-off workshops coming the third week of June. I think June 21st and 22nd. One of them is about spirit guides. The one on the 20th I have to move because something came up on that day for me. And smells. Yeah, sometimes I'll smell cigarette smoke. My mom was a smoker and she passed when she was 40, many, many years ago. And occasionally I'll smell smoke. Let's see. Dawn, every time I've gone to a reading, when I leave, my phone acts crazy. Yeah, my phone, when I'm under stress, my phone goes crazy and my computer goes crazy. Like, my energy gets so wound up that the electricity goes crazy. Medium Omar, hello Omar. I'm a developing medium and I plan to substitute my sitting work with automatic writing, okay? I will be blending and doing inspirational writing, paying attention to my individual clair senses. Any thoughts? Okay, so Medium Omar, I assume you already have a mentor or a teacher. So let me know if that's the case. I did some automatic writing when I was training as a medium, and it was fascinating, the things that come out in automatic writing. I would say there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. I would also say develop your different clairs. I do something in my intermediate class called opposite clairs, where, like, for me, I'm very claircognizant. That means I just know things. Things are put in my head, and I have very strong clairvoyance, which is visual. I can see things in my head, and I'm working on seeing things outside my head. I'm taking it slow. But in the opposite clairs exercise, I have my students practice a reading using their less commonly used clair. So for me, that would be my smelling and my hearing. That's what I would have to practice if I was doing that, to develop those other clairs. Because when you're developing your senses, you want to develop as many different clairs as you can. So the clairs are your senses as a medium. Your clairvoyance, your claircognizance, clairalience, clair empathy, all the clairs. The more you have, the more well-rounded you'll be as a medium, because some spirits will communicate with clairvoyance the most. Some will communicate with clairaudience, which is hearing, the most. Some of them use all the clairs. If you are a developing medium who only uses clairvoyance, and the spirit sending signal clairaudience, you're not going to pick up on it because you didn't develop that clair. So when you're a developing medium, you want to develop as many clairs as you can, so you'll be a more well-rounded medium. So I have no problem with automatic or inspirational writing. It's almost kind of like channeling, right, Omar? Renee. Okay. Good. You heard his voice. Clairaudience. Good. And felt him touch my shoulder. Excellent. And felt his emotions. Good, good, good. It was unreal but magical. The evidence he gave was so strong and she knew it was him. Absolutely wonderful. I'm so, so happy to hear that. It's so good when you have a wonderful student like Renee, um, and she's actually doing the work to develop, because she already did some a different type of readings before, but now she's developing her mediumship. And the fact that you are using all those clairs, which doesn't surprise me at all because I've seen your work already, it is magical. And I'll tell you, Renee, and everybody else, as someone who, and it gets me a little choked up, as someone who studied science and was the biggest nerd in my family and got teased relentlessly by everyone I know for decades, to have something so woo-woo or paranormal happen to me in a way that's undeniable is, it just is magical. It's a beautiful way to say that. It's a magical feeling where you're like, what? How did that happen? My science mind is saying that's not possible. That doesn't make sense. And then my other mind is saying, but it did happen. I know it happened. I saw it happen. So I get it completely. And it's a beautiful experience when you can give evidence to a client or a sitter or a loved one who you're just doing a practice reading for if you're developing. It's a beautiful feeling to give evidence that is confirmed, that is specific, that only applies to the sitter, the client, the loved one in front of you, and the spirit. There are so many different examples. Now, specific evidence is not, oh, your grandma loved you. That's evidence, but now if a medium told me my grandmother loved me, I would be like, yeah, you're not connecting to my grandmother, because I wasn't close or hardly knew either of my grandmothers. So that's the funny thing about mediumship. But if a medium told me that my uncle gave me a silver dollar at my grandma's house for Christmas one year, that would be specific evidence. That would be a very specific thing. So there's a big difference. Okay. I'm so glad, Renee. Marissa. Hi, Marissa. I had a trinket that played music when twisted, and it went off in the middle of the night. Also, I had a lot of dreams as a child of my family, alive and ones that passed. So, the things, my throat's getting a little dry. The toys or trinkets going off, or electronic devices going off in the middle of the night, is a very, very common thing that happens with spirit in the middle of the night, because you're resting, your mind is resting. If you have children, hopefully they're resting. Your spouse or your partner is resting, and everyone's mind is relaxed. When it's the busy middle of the day and people are coming and going, and you're packing lunches, and you're going to work, and you gotta make dinner, you gotta wash the dishes, you gotta do the laundry. When all of that stuff's happening, your mind's not clear enough to receive those messages. So, someone's calling me. Mandy, can you text Isaiah and see what he wants? Sorry. I've got my baby's calling me, but I don't want to interrupt. It was a music box. Yeah, that happens. So in the middle of the night, it's a little more, everything's settled and more relaxed. So those signs are going to come. That's why when the first time I had my first mediumship experience, I laid down to take a nap, and I was very relaxed for a few seconds, and no one was there to bother me or wake me up. Even though I didn't get a chance to fall asleep, my mind was relaxed and my home was quiet. Thank you. Thank you. Um, okay. Yes, it was amusing. Let's see. Oh my God, Marissa, that scared the crap out of me that night. Dawn, I heard my dad. It was amazing. Yes, I think it's a beautiful gift you have. Thank you. Yes, a music box. So any little trinkety thing. A lot of times, children, their toys will go off in the middle of the night. Little electronic toys. It was crazy. I thought he was standing right there on the side of her bed. So I have a sister. I have a very, very large family. So I have a sister who is very far from spiritual, as far as I know. And she has seen my mother standing full figure at the end of her bed. So it is common. Now, I do not want to see that. I have enough problems sleeping at night in general. So I have told the spirit world, please don't show me anybody standing at the foot of my bed. You can put up boundaries like that. But people do, it's very common for people to say, I saw my loved one standing at the foot of my bed, or I saw my loved one standing at the side of my bed. It is common. It is a common occurrence. And if it scares you, that would scare me. I'd probably have a heart attack. I'm a big chicken. But if it scares you, you can say, please don't show me things outside of my head because it scares me. Spirit is very good about keeping boundaries. Humans, not so much with the boundaries. Spirit, very good with boundaries. So you can ask Spirit to not do things, and you can ask Spirit to help you do things. That's why it's like super important to find your spirit guide and work on finding your spirit guide, because your spirit guide is really the one who you want to help you work through these things and find these things and develop these things. I did not believe when I first started training, I was like, spirit guides BS. I don't believe, because I was a scientist, right? It didn't make sense. Boy, was I wrong. I was so wrong. I have spirit guides. People are outside playing music. If you can hear it, please let me know, and I'll close my window because I have my window open. Let me know if you can hear that. Marissa, I swear I saw my great aunt while at a restaurant with a friend. I spaced out and seen her to every detail. Yep, that happens. And you know what else happens, I think? Besides seeing people in spirit standing in front of you, which is common and okay. After my mom passed in 1986, I thought I saw her so many times, but they were other people who looked like her. And still this happens to me to this day. I follow a medium on TikTok and Instagram who reminds me very, very much of my mother. So I think spirit can maybe superimpose the energy of someone's face to remind you that they're there. Like, kind of like in a movie where they CGI something over someone's face to make them look a different way. I feel like spirit can do that. So when you see this person, they may look similar to your loved one, but in your head, your spirit's showing you this is your loved one. This may be a stretch for some of you, but spirit can, in my opinion, they can do whatever they want. Superimpose and make you think of, in my case, my mother. So I'm knowing, oh, she's still here. She's still with me. Dawn said, that's what I said to him. I told him I was scared and please don't come up to me out of my dreams. Good. Very good. Very good. Excellent. So, just a reminder, I have an advanced mediumship mentorship starting in July. If you've had some training, but you've lost touch with your teacher, you just feel like you need a new energy, you can join that. Oh, sorry, I'm reading the comments. I have the Father's Day special event with mediums Wendy and Kathy. You can join that on my website. It's only $25, limited seating. That may fill up pretty quick. I have private readings with a coupon for June, and I'm doing readings during the week in June as well as on the weekends in June. And several one-on-one, one-off workshops, how to find your spirit guide, psychic versus medium. All of that's all on my website. Okay, Renee, does your guide stand on your right side? So your guide can be anywhere. I have two guides right now and kind of like a golden energy cone over my head. My main guide, George, I know this sounds crazy, but it's true. George stands in front of me when I'm searching for him, but he can really be anywhere. When I'm doing readings, I see him more up here because when I do readings, most of my stuff comes on this side of my head. Occasionally someone comes over here. But if I need to call on George, like when I was first doing readings, if I need to call on my guide to help me, he usually shows up in the area where I can see the spirits from the reading. I do have another guide. Her name is Mother Guide. She is not my mother. She doesn't look like my mother. She looks completely different. She looks like the homeless woman in Home Alone in the park. That's what she looks like. And she stands behind me. She rarely ever comes forward, but I know she's there. So your guide can stand anywhere. And then the energy cone is this weird golden swirly thing that I discovered on a live one day, weirdly, when I was walking people through finding their spirit guide, which is really cool. Medium Omar. Thank you, and no, I currently have no mentor. I am teaching a few students, just working on building my relationship with my guides. Excellent. Wonderful. Well, if you ever want one, you know where to find me. I'm glad you're working on that and have students. Catherine, when you reunite with your loved ones, will they remember that you have reached out to them through mediums? Absolutely. So, when you cross over, if you are a normal person that wasn't like a horrible, violent criminal or something, if you're a normal person who had a normal life and, you know, made mistakes and did good things and maybe did some bad things, but not something too horrible, just lived a normal life. When you cross over, so when I do readings, sometimes I'll ask, who greeted you when you passed? And so that'll be another form of evidence, right? So like if I'm talking to a husband in spirit, but they may have lost a son prior to the husband passing, I can say, but I don't know this ahead of time. I can say to the husband in spirit, who greeted you when you passed? And I will see the person, and in my head, I see the other person pulling them up into the spirit realm. And I can say, do you also have a son that crossed over before your husband? Because your son is showing me he is greeting your husband when he passed. So those are other layers of evidence that you can get. Because normally, the dad would pass before the son if everybody lived their full life. So if a son passed before the dad, I may see the son greeting the dad as he crosses over. So when you cross over, this kind of an overwhelming feeling just talking about this. we have the knowledge of everything all at once. It's as if everything that happened in our lives is in our head, and we don't know how it got there. Um, it's like if you're a mom and your baby's crying and you know why your baby's crying. That's the hungry cry. That's the dirty diaper cry. That's the I'm tired and cranky cry. It's like we automatically know. So, will we know that they saw a medium in essence? Sure, yes. We'll know. It's like claircognizance of everything. You just know. All the knowledge is there because our brain can only hold so much knowledge, but our spirit encompasses all the knowledge. That's why we can't hold the whole thing in our body. I hope that was a clear answer, Catherine. Renee, it's like I saw a man's face only on your right side. His face was big. Oh, okay. Well, it's funny. That could literally be, I think, that's either my guide or the person that I asked to come through when my students are doing readings, which you probably remember from class last time. So yeah, describe what it looks like and I'll tell you who it is. And when the comments load, I'll let you know. You know, you'd think as a teacher during the day, my voice would be able to last a really long time. I was on a retreat a couple of weeks ago. Some of you may have heard me talk about it on some of my social media videos. And I was really, really excited. Oh, I don't know who's Ariel's dad from The Little Mermaid looks like. I don't know what he looks like. I don't know. I haven't seen the new one yet. His face popped up at me. Interesting. Somebody's probably trying to give you a message, Renee. So just take it in and just ask what they want to say. I was on a retreat and I was so excited. I was going to make all these videos on my social media about my retreat because I'm trying to work on my trauma recovery. I've had a lot of therapy, counseling, and trauma work in the past, and I thought, oh, I'm fine. I'm over everything. Everything's great. And then through doing my readings, some of that trauma comes back up because I get readings from people who have experienced similar trauma to me, which is what happens when you have a database of information in your head and you're doing spirit work. You get a lot of similar things in your readings because the spirits know you're familiar with it and you can communicate about it. So some of that trauma resurfaced for me, and so I'm trying to work through another layer of that. So I went to this trauma retreat, which would have been my leg. So I didn't. So I basically ended up sitting in a hotel for 3 days with my leg propped up on crutches. So I didn't get to make all the cool videos and stuff, but I am continuing my work on that. It's the Old Mermaid Disney Channel. Like the King Triton, is that who you're talking about? Do you have the big mustache? I think that's the right one. I haven't seen that since my boys were little. Actually, I think I might have watched it with my nieces when they were little. Because that's at least 25 or more years old, right? Yes, okay, yeah. Yeah, that might be my Uncle Rick. He had a big, prominent mustache. He comes through all the time. It wouldn't surprise me. He likes to show up. Dawn, would love to know who met my dad when he passed over. I was with him, hoping he would give me a sign of who it was. I was sleeping when he passed, right on the side of him, and I regret it. Why do you regret it? Because you were sleeping? It's very common. It's very common when someone is passing and they don't want you to see them pass, they'll wait till you leave the room, or they'll wait till you fall asleep if you're in the room. Because you were sleeping. Don't, no, forgive yourself. So I have a question, Dawn, and then I'll get to Mandy. Did your dad have a grandma that was almost like a second mom to him, or a mother figure to him more than a grandma? Because as soon as I read that, I saw grandma. Let me know if that is the case. And Mandy, while I wait for that to load, Mandy wants to know, are sudden death accidents exit points? Oh, when I first read that, I thought it said extra points. Sorry, I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing at my own dyslexia. The older I get, the more dyslexic I get. Are sudden death accidents exit points or just random? And when you have a sudden death and are pronounced dead on the scene, does spirit have time to choose to exit or not because it was sudden? Yes, they're exit points. And I don't know if you know this, Mandy, but you can ask your mom. She'll remember. I drowned when I was 6 months old. I don't remember it. Your mom remembers it. And I think that was an exit point for me. And yes, so many mediums say we have several exit points in our life where we get to decide, do I want to go through this life? And I think if I look back on my life, that 6-month exit point was definitely a time for me to choose stay or go. And I chose to stay. When you have a sudden death and are pronounced dead on the scene, does spirit have time to choose to exit or not because it was sudden? Now, this is interesting because there are some very serious cases of people who are pronounced dead, people who have been put in a morgue, and they end up being alive. So you can, and there's some really good documentaries on different streaming services, Netflix and some other stuff about near-death experiences. They're amazing. I think there's one on Netflix, but I can't remember the name of it. If anybody remembers it, can you put it in the chat? Near-death experiences where people, even there's a famous doctor, obviously I can't remember his name right now, who had a near-death experience. He was a total atheist, didn't believe in anything spiritual, just doctor, had an incredible near-death experience and has been researching the afterlife ever since. He's written books. It's crazy. I actually probably have the book somewhere in my stack of books over here. Okay. He was close to both of his grandmothers. Okay, because I see that, I don't know, for some reason I think it was his mom's mom, Dawn. I feel like it was his mom's mom. That's the feeling I'm getting. So don't regret being asleep. Forgive yourself. That was so, he didn't want you to see him pass. It's very, very common. Very common. So please forgive yourself. His mom's, oh, how funny. Because I just said that. My aunt just said his mom's mom. Okay. That's, yeah. Great. Wow. How weird that we were saying that. I was saying it as you were typing it probably. How funny. So yes, maternal grandmother. All right. Awesome. Good, good, good. So yeah, I literally see in my head, I'll see that. Now this may not be how it actually happens, but it's how I see it, as they grab their hands and pull them across. So Mandy, in the case of your friend that passed, he would have, because it was so sudden, he would have been greeted by someone who he felt loved and comforted by. So again, normal life, if we live a normal life, we're a normal person, who makes normal mistakes and lives a normal life, we're always going to be greeted by someone who is going to make us feel safe. We're born alone, but we don't die alone. Nobody dies alone. Even if you have made horrific mistakes and choices in your life, even if you are responsible for your own passing, I don't want to say the other word for it, I don't want to get banned, you are still greeted. Usually you'll be greeted by a guide or a teacher from spirit to help get you reoriented and kind of reevaluate what went wrong. Sometimes when we pick the life we're going to live and the family we're going to be born into, sometimes our soul and our body don't really go well together. So that's my belief, is that's why sometimes people have very serious mental illnesses. The chemistry of their brain isn't functioning correctly, but also their spirit and their body aren't really meshing well. Kind of like in the movie Avatar, if you've seen that movie, where they put the main character, human guy, in the little machine, and his mind goes into the mind of the avatar. It's kind of like that. Now, if his mind, if his consciousness didn't match the mind of the avatar, you know, it's not going to work well. He might have some issues about that. And so I feel like that may be what happens when people make really bad mistakes in their life. Sometimes their mind, their human mind and their spirit mind don't work well together. I'm sure we've all experienced that. So, I do private readings. I have a June coupon. It is summer, all caps 2023 for $30 off. I will have readings available during the week in June, after the second week of June, during the week, and on Saturdays. I will be working on a huge science project in July. So I don't know how many readings I'll be able to do in July, because I also work for another organization that I'm going to be doing a big project for. Angelo and Kathy Behrens on Friday, June 16th. Oh no, I'm glitching. This is showing me I'm glitching, so let's see. A live event Friday, June 16th for Father's Day. This is for anyone really, but it's meant to be for people who've lost their fathers or fathers who've lost their children. It's limited seating. It's only $25. It's an hour and a half. It'll be via Zoom. So if you register on my website or either of the other ladies' websites, you'll get an email with the information to follow. Does anybody have any? I can take maybe one or two more questions. If anybody has any questions, make sure to subscribe to my YouTube if you don't already. I'm really trying to move I want to do my lives exclusively on YouTube. I'm trying to move away from another platform. They've changed the algorithm on the Clock app. I used to only go live over there for a long time, and I'm just not satisfied with how they're doing things. The growth has slowed significantly there. It is a big reach, but I don't know that it's as helpful as YouTube and as sustainable as YouTube. So I really want to move everything over here. And the more subscribers, the more they're going to push me out to the public. So, any last minute questions? All right, so coupon code for June, summer 2023, $30 off readings, live Father's Day event on June 16th, $25 only, 3 mediums. It's very limited seating. If you have any questions, you can email me. It's the same as my website that's on the scroll, peacefulnik, N-I-K, the medium, @gmail.com. And I'll be happy to answer any of your questions. You can also visit my website, peacefulnik, themedium.com, and see what my offerings are. Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful Memorial Day. I will be going live a lot more in the next few weeks on YouTube. Hoping I'll start a lot earlier next time to get it right, so I'm not on here so 20 minutes late next time. I appreciate you all watching. Thank you so much. Love and peace to everyone. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Mwah. Have a wonderful day.